Hi, welcome back. Thanks for stopping in, and thanks to my new subscribers. That's pretty cool. I appreciate that. If you get a chance, give it a thumbs up, thumbs down, whatever, however you feel. If you like what you see, subscribe. That'd be cool. Um, Now, this is a long overdue video. Even the last one was long and overdue. I ran into some problems. I shot the video of the machine that you saw. I had trouble getting the video off the phone. You know, old man, new technology, I don't know, whatever. But I finally got that ironed out. And now, like I was saying to somebody, one of the subscribers, I was just backed up with a lot of work, busy at work, and just other things in general. I feel bad about taking so long with that. But anyway, and then I got sidetracked too here. Did some painting, a little electrical work, blah, blah, blah. And as Mr. Pete would say, a little South Bend happened to follow me home during the winter. So that took up some time. But anyway, I guess I'll stop babbling and we'll see what's going on. What I did with the quilt, it's not exotic, pretty, or anything like that, but it's pretty solid, functional. I think I might do a little something more to it just to add to the rigidity, but I think it works okay. Something I wanted to bring up. During the winter, I was getting a weird problem. I was setting during the winter I was calibrating the quill, the Z-axis, and I was running into some weird issues jogging around in Mach 3. It would stop running. It would stop. The little green light on the clear path motor would be turning yellow and give me a flashing message. So I talked to somebody, Arturo Duncan, I believe, at CNC 4PC. Hope I got that right. And he told me that the problem I was having sounded like an open ground, or an open loop ground. So after talking to some folks at work that deal with our machines there, the electronics and the programming and stuff, I think we narrowed it down to noise. I'm hoping that's what it is. I was just jogging it around earlier today, and it seems to be okay. We'll see. So, that could have come from anything. A microwave upstairs, but what I'm thinking is it was during the winter and the pellet stove was always running. The fans, I think that's what the problem was. So we'll see. What I'll do, I'll get the camera pointed more toward that, maybe a little closer, and jog it around a little bit. I don't have anything program or anything in there, but you'll see how it works and take it from there. slow this down a little bit because obviously there's not much travel. This is like 70% for the jog feed rate. So just to avoid any issues, I set the limits through Mach 3, so there shouldn't be a problem, but you know, just in case. That is pretty slow. That was 25%. So back up to 70%. You know, it's going pretty good for. I'm not sure if there was a program running, if that would be the rapid speed or not. We'll see. Maybe it would be whatever I have it set at when I set it up with the software from Technic. It could be. So, you know, like I said, this was all just scrap stuff I had laying around. I think, you know what? I think what I'll do, I'll just handhold and kind of walk around the thing and show you a few things that I saw other people do. I thought was good, but I kind of felt this was the better setup to run it directly off of the quill. So bear with me here, and I'll try not to shake too much. All right, like I said, I seen some folks set up a motor back here, but bear in mind that was a VRAM setup, so I didn't really see a good easy solution to mounting over here and running off of the quill, the handle. And plus there's a shaft in there with, I think, a bevel gear that drives the quill, if I remember right. So I didn't like that idea. Pretty much I copied how I think the Route 66 setup is. You know, so what I did, I took the feed lever off and just made a cover for it here, and then a little bracket mounted to the side plate. And I don't know if you can see in there, this pin I had to make, and that's going to the ball nut housing, and it's hooked into like where your quill stop used to be. Okay, and then here we had, I don't know if that's 1/2 inch or something I used, and mounted it down into the bottom of the casting here, and brought it out, a bearing mounted here. And this is basically just to keep it rigid, because I saw it flexing, so I knew right off we had to do something more for that. And then just another piece of 1/2 inch plate. I didn't have anything big, angle or anything to use, so I just screwed 2 together. And this is just basically a support in there, gusset or whatever you want to call it, to add to the rigidity. And then up here is another bearing housing, the top pulley, and it's mounted to a piece of angle iron. I don't know, what's it, 3/8 or something, by whatever. It was the widest piece I could find around. And where it's mounted here, these 4 screws was the plate, I believe, for the feed rate for your quill. I think we had 3 positions there. So I figured if I was doing this, I'm not going to need to use that anymore, so that looked like a good mounting place, and I went with that. And you can see here, this is where that whole front setup is bolted in. And under here, okay, this is like a locking screw. Well, here's a locking screw, and this is just another mounting screw. If I loosen this and this screw, that way I can then pivot this whole block up here if you know, I need to put more tension on the belt, or even to get it off of this pulley over here for whatever reason. So you know, that's why I did that. And then the usual mounting setup, some standoffs for the motor. You know, I just did the minimum amount. You can see in there, there's not too much clearance between the bottom of the pulley and this plate here. What is it, maybe 3/16, not even 3/16, I don't think, of an inch. So that's what I did there. Let's see, I don't know what else I can say about this. I was thinking, I think it's pretty stiff. I'll have to really run it and see what happens when it's under a load, like milling something, maybe interpolating a pocket or something like that. What I was thinking of was putting something else, more of a cover maybe even, but out of something, you know, somewhat with some mass to it, like 3/8 or 1/2 inch. Put it, you know, to here. It'll have to stick out a little bit to clear the nut, to clear, you know, the ball nut housing here. But if, you know, I tied it into this and here, I think that would really lock it all together pretty good. So, you know, like I say, it's not pretty, but it was made out of stuff I had laying around, and you know, it's up and running. Originally, I planned to be able to loosen these cap screws in here and disconnect the ball screw out of here, and then, you know, be able to still use it, put the handle back on the side and still use it manually. But that didn't really pan out too good. I saw it was going to be a bit of a pain, and I wasn't really sure or certain that the home positions would stay the same. I mean, they could vary slightly, I think. I just didn't want to go through the headaches of having to, you know, reset the home positions or the limits. So that's why I'm just going to leave it the way it is, and just you know, program it in, whatever I have to do. So. You know, in the last video, when I showed how I hooked up the table and the rails and everything, I didn't really go into too much detail exactly what I did. And I was thinking about it, and I think maybe I'll see if I can't do it right now. Just a quick little rundown. See if I can, I guess there's enough light. You'll be able to get the general idea. Okay, when I started out, okay, this is obviously the back of the machine, and there's the knee of the Bridgeport. Okay, so this is the Y-axis rails. What I did, I took off this this cover on both sides, I think, and I got a couple of 1, 2, 3 blocks. Put them up against this way, and I sat it down on the actual original Bridgeport way. Okay, this wasn't here. No, it was. What the heck am I talking about? All right. Yeah, but I did go off of this, if I remember right, this bearing surface with a square just to kind of line up the rails. And then once I had one where I was pretty sure it was straight and square with the back, then I put the other one in on the other side, and I just measured it with a vernier, a dial caliper, to make sure it was parallel from front to back, and then tightened it in, and gradually tightened it, and then checked it again, and until it was all the way tight. Checked it a few times, making sure I didn't tweak it around. So then after that was on, I think what I did was with the it was like a 12-inch, maybe larger, Brown and Sharp machinist square. Went off of the rail and the table, okay, so that I got, well, actually this, what I'm calling the saddle here, so that was square with the y-axis, okay, and then I tightened it down, tightened the saddle down to the mount coming up from inside on the y ball screw, okay. Then from there, when we put the rails in for the x-axis, I had laid them out and had to drill them all with the Bridgeport the way it was originally. So what I did, I made a couple, kind of like a spacer or a gauge, so I was able to put it against the rail and against this back edge, because everything was coming off of the back edge, okay. And then I'd work my way down. I'd go like originally from one end to the other, get it pretty close, and then I'd work my way down and tighten the screws as I went. And then when I did the front one, again, I did, like, I spaced it with a dial caliper and got it, pretty close. These bearing blocks are forgiving somewhat, I think, but with 8 of them under there, it's it keeps things in line. I can't really say that I've had any issues yet. I haven't done a whole lot with it yet either, but you can tell if there's something is not right when you're machining it and why. So, and then mounting the table onto those rails. All right, here's 4 holes. All right, for this bearing block, the screw goes through. Again, I was lining it up, keeping it parallel with this back edge, okay. And it was so long ago. I want to say I ran an indicator across the back when I was finished, and I was pretty sure I must have been happy with it, because I really don't think I would have let that slip by. But that's really all I did. The ball screw mounted in there, that was lined up and spaced, so that it was parallel with the rails. I just didn't want it on an angle. It's not like it's mounted differently than the regular Bridgeport, so maybe it's a little more forgiving, you know, if it's slightly crooked, but I just didn't want it crooked. You know, I figure, you know, if you're doing this, you can get it closer, might as well get as close as possible. So that's, I just wanted to clear that up. I don't know if that was helpful or anything, but something I was thinking about, and I think if I were to do this again, or if I were to change this table, I think what I would do is mount the rails to the table and go with some large bearing blocks, maybe only 4 right in the center, so that way, you know, the whole strength of it would be right in the center, and the table would be moving. But wherever you're, you know, working, unless you swing the head over to one side, all the weight's going to be pressing down, supporting here. And if I did that, if I took off, say, these, the 4 outer bearing blocks, 2 on each end, I pick up, I don't know, maybe I forget how much, about 4 more inches of travel. You know, it doesn't sound like much, but it might be just enough on some job. You know, you just don't know. You know, more is better, I guess. So I took some still pictures of this, just I don't know, in case somebody wanted to get ideas. I mean, it's not like a work of art here, you know, something to copy. I mean, they can if they want, but, you know, it's basic, simple functioning. So that's pretty much all I have to show here. I hope I don't remember something that I forgot. If I do, I'll add it in. Hope this was some help. And again, I really do feel bad about the length of time it took me to get this out. I don't know why I had so much trouble getting the video off of the phone using a Note 4. And, you know, I Googled how to do it, and there's like 3 or 4 different ways. It seemed like any way I was doing it, it wasn't working. So I got hooked up with a little card reader with a little micro USB cable. It's so simple now. Just tell it to shoot the video right to the micro USB card. DS card, whatever it is, and then plug it into the computer. I think within 5 minutes I had it onto the computer, and you know, tweaking it, whatever. So anyway, thanks for stopping in. And again, if you like what you saw, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, thumbs down. Any comments, you know, questions, or maybe you might have some suggestions, something, you know, you could overlook something that's very simple, and somebody spot it and point it out, and, you know, you're following your ideas, and you or just overlook something, you never think of it. So if you see something that maybe I could have done different, or suggestions that would be maybe better, I'm open to hear it. So again, thanks for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.